What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to NerdWide Podcast. This is episode 28, and I'm your host, the one and only Tyler Haynes. And of course, right here beside me is the Madden legend. Yes, the MLB, the show the game was made after. This is a Mr. Chris Rivers. Hello, you there?
How's it going,
Oh,
Tyler?
it's going well, man. It's going well. It's been a 2 weeks since we've recorded. The last week was on me. It was Memorial Day, of course, and we're going to record. But I either one A over or one or A over ate, or two or B just ate the wrong kind of foods and upset my stomach horrendously, and we weren't able to record during our windows. So that is on me, and I apologize. But you can still send all your hate mail to Chris, and he'll just take it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I
but
I just delete that.
yeah, just delete it. Oh, don't know this number. But guys, this is the NerdWide Podcast. Like I said earlier, this is episode 28. And of course, if you enjoy this show, don't forget to subscribe to either our YouTube or podcasting services of your choice. If you enjoy the show, make sure you leave a thumbs up or give us a good rating on podcasting apps if you're on the audio side. If you don't enjoy what you see or hear, make sure you leave us a comment and let us know how we can improve the show. If you want to do more, as always, you go to patreon.com/nerdwide. Of course, the audio listeners could not see my hand slash through the camera.
No.
But Chris, I don't want to catch up. We've got so much to talk about. We'll catch up as we go. I want to start in with what you've been
Mustard
watching.
instead. Uh, I I with work still being a little bit crazy, I didn't get to watch a ton of stuff. Um, I watched what we had planned to watch. I did watch on the YouTube channel Nick 930. I
Mm-hmm.
watched his history of Grand Theft Auto documentary. Um, it runs, I want to say it's a little over 2 hours,
It's not bad.
but he goes back to the very start of what ultimately became Rockstar, um, all the way into the latest game and the online multiplayer.
The thing that has still to this day taken over the world and continues to
Yeah,
stay in the top 10 purchases of
yeah,
all time. Yeah.
it's it's very good. I mean, I'd recommend everybody give it a watch for
Have
sure.
you ever watched or heard of No Clip on YouTube?
No.
So Danny O'Dwyer and I forget his co-host. I'm so bad about that, but they do a documentary style of video game companies and games. Like the one that I got in on was Rocket League, and how it's like they go to the publishers and developers and they interview everybody. And they do a real good job with it. That's what his passion and dream was, is document documentate what am I documentaries. Lord,
Documentary.
thank you, Jesus. Already starting off on a good note. And like he's done Arcane Studios with Dishonored 1 and 2. He's done Rocket League. They've done, I think they've done Outer Worlds. They've done a bunch of different studios, and they do a real good job with it. And God of
Oh,
War's got one that Sony funded as well. It's really good if you're into those.
really?
Now, Chris, thank you for
Check
asking.
those out.
I have watched a lot these past 2 weeks. As you know,
Yeah.
as I work, I put up on one screen work. I explained this a couple weeks ago, and on this screen, I watch TV. And let me tell you, I have watched a lot. We're gonna start off with Black Lightning. I know last time we recorded, I was like halfway through the episode I was on. Finished it. I'm excited for the final season. Debating on see if it's all on CW or I could just watch it even with ads, just see if I can watch through them. I finished Supergirl. That season, same thing with their episodes. They just started, so I could definitely catch up on it with their last season. And this most recent season ended kind of like Flash did, where some things wrapped up, but not really. And I'm not sure if it's the same thing as the Flash, as they wrapped everything. The true finale wasn't until like 3 episodes in, or what. But it felt like one, but didn't really feel like one of their strong finales. So I'm not really sure. I need to look into that one more. Finished Legends of Tomorrow, still coming in as one of my favorite CW shows. The cast and ensemble on there, they do such a great job. The writers are so funny, and they just get it. And then I watched another CW show that I did not expect to enjoy as much as I did, and that is CW Stargirl. Of course, season 2 they entered the Arrowverse somehow. We know that for as they put a promo image out of all the crossover that's going to be on there, and she's there, and I thoroughly enjoyed that show. They've got Luke Wilson in there. I've always enjoyed him as an actor. He's the stepdad, and I text you and I said it reminded me a lot of Smallville and that and a lot of the aspects of it, and it was real fun. The finale was really well done. Um, Joel McHale is in the show, and he plays Starboy. He's like in the very first episode, and no, it's not a spoiler, but he dies, and or does he? Anyways, it's weird watching him as a superhero because I binge Community all the time. It's what plays when I'm going to sleep at night, and so it's kind of weird to see him as a superhero and think of him. But going in the Justice Society of America, the my first I guess knowledge or seeing them at all was during Smallville. And so a lot of my knowledge is only from that. So it was really cool learning about all these new heroes and all this society and all these new villains and everything. It's a real good show. I recommend everybody to watch it. It's on HBO Max. I don't know if I'm going to touch Batwoman or not. I'm sure I will, but I'm already 2 seasons behind on that one. So
If you do, ask permission first.
of course, you always have to ask permission first. And then we're not
Yes.
done with the shows, okay? We're going to keep going.
No?
Lucifer,
Good
season
Lord.
5.2 came out. My wife and I binged that in a weekend. Yeah, there was, I think, 6 new episodes. Finished them all. Yeah, and I am absolutely in love with that show. I hate that season 6 is going to be its last one. And I'm not ready for that show to end. Of course, they're done filming it now, but it's still got to go through post, and I'm sure that will be like an early next year drop. And then I'm not done. I've got one more. And then, of course, Ragnarok, the Norwegian show that everything is in Norwegian, and I had all the subtitles on. Fantastic. Season 2 was great. I think I like season 1 a little bit better, but season 2, the way that this show brings Norse mythology into modern times and makes it make sense is so good. Oh, it's just really well done. And that's all I've watched besides our normal stuff, if you could believe it.
That's all?
Yeah, that's it. Just nothing big.
So, out of all those, what's the must watch if you had to
Mm.
put one above the others?
So Ragnarok is like a cult classic. I wouldn't put that up there. Black Lightning was good. Um, Still not one of my favorite CW shows, although I love, 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 love that show. Supergirl's okay. To me, it's between Legends of Tomorrow, Lucifer, and Stargirl. Mm, I want to. I want to say Lucifer out of those. There's just something truly special
Yeah.
of that one, and God was in this last half of the series. With
N.S. Haysbert.
Yeah, and he did such a good job, and I just really enjoyed what that show brings. I mean, technically, it's in the Arrowverse as well, because he was in Crisis of Infinite Earths. So technically, it's a CW show. That's all I'm saying. Even it's on Netflix.
Uh, I know you mentioned Legends, and we always have both loved that show and loved the sense of humor and just the chemistry. It seems that because Phil Klemmer's involved with that show, right?
Hmm.
I can't remember if he's showrunner or I can't remember who the showrunner is, but because he was on Chuck,
Right, and that might be why.
there's like a
Mhm.
very similar vibe.
Yeah,
So
and they
yeah,
do the way that they call things out and semi break the fourth wall is some of the funniest stuff. Like they said,
hmm
"Oh my god, this is a bottle episode, isn't it?" Like just the stuff that they do is so funny, and I just like they even Lucifer called out the whole Fox thing. They did a good
yeah.
job with it. But like Legends, they just like, oh god, it's another crossover. Did we miss the crossover again? It's so like the way that they tie it all. It's so well done. I really enjoyed and I miss these shows, and I can see where 'cause the actor Dominic Purcell, he's in talks to be leaving after this next season. I could see where they would write him out based off of some of the events that happened in this season, and I mean we don't. Besides him and uh, uh, there's like two others still. So you got Sarah and Miss Steele. So I mean,
Yeah.
they'll be the only ones left of the main crew. But the crew that they've got now, I am having fun with, and they're fun. It's not like they're just forced people in there that doesn't make sense to the show just to have butts in the seats. But it's fun to.
Hmm.
They all make sense. They all come with their own stories. They delve in and out throughout it. Oh, this was the season where Ray Palmer left, and to watch him and Nate how their relationship evolved and handled it, and I forgot that happened. It was beautiful. I mean, Neil
Yeah.
McDonough was in a couple episodes. It's just fun. I just enjoy that show. But that's not why you guys are here.
Good one.
What we have to talk about, we've got 2 episodes of Superman and Lois, and we are going to do it a hero craving style. So let's get right into it with our first episode of Superman and Lois, Season 1, Episode 7, Man of Steel. And a little fun fact, this was directed by our new Green Lantern, of course, David Ramsey. So he is obviously not leaving the CW verse anytime soon, and this should kind of prove it. But I did think that was actually kind of awesome that he directed an episode, and they allowed him to do that.
Mhm.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Let's get right in with the recap here. Again, this is Episode 7, Man of Steel. Clark and Jordan arrive in the fortress, and we officially find out he has super hearing, same as Superman. So now he has to wear noise-canceling headphones to help. Again, these notes were written 2 weeks ago. So if I miss my train of thoughts, there's a reason. I guess is the way I'd say it. So we start with Lana and the Lois partnership, with Lana asking what she needs to do. Lois finds out that Luthor is lying and becomes more curious. Turns out that Edge and Leslie are looking into Luthor as well. Plot twist. We'll get some fun stuff with these 2 episodes. Meanwhile, Jordan and Clark start training for super hearing with a drippy faucet, which would drive anybody mad, even if they have super hearing or not. Whatever. I thought this was the way they used noise canceling headphones. I thought were really well done. The actors, I forget his name. I'm always gonna forget the 2 Kent boys. Anyways, the way that his
Gordon
acting,
and Jonathan.
yeah. I mean the actors' names. One's name is Elias, and one's name is actually Jordan. Anyways, the way his emotions played through when he heard something, like it was, you could physically see the pain in his face whenever like you hear these drips, or later when he would just take them off and you hear sirens, you hear people talking. It was awesome the way they did that. Anywhoozin, turns out Luthor and Lois had a kid in the other world, and we see another glimpse of Black Suit Superman. Of course, it was made big with Zack Snyder's Black Suit Superman, and we see it this iteration with Tyler Hoechlin, and I love Tyler Hoechlin. Anyways, and we see other Kryptonians in this city. They're flying around and absolutely destroying the city. We can see where Luthor here is we see his backstory. This is what Man of Steel was about, more so was his backstory and how we got to this point. So we see Jordan trying to hone in his powers again, this time with the clock in the living room, of course, and fails with that. It's just a second attempt, and just it's a lot. Here's the ticking, and then just loses control of it again. This is hard. I couldn't even imagine doing something like this with super hearing. I'll take it, but I couldn't imagine doing it. Lois and Luthor go out, and Lois tries to nail down the truth while Clark breaks into the mobile home, and his Alexa drone calls out for Captain Luthor. Making sure my echo didn't go off. I don't know why I put her name down. Lois gets called away due to activity going in on the mines, and turns out Luthor doesn't know Superman's identity. So we see him go into the RV van as Clark, and he comes out, and even his little AI device did not even know that Clark Kent is Superman, and we find out later that he doesn't know anything besides his own weaknesses. Luthor makes a roadblock for a convoy that is transporting X-Kryptonite, is what we're calling the yellow kryptonite here, that Clark and Lois are tailing. I thought this was a really cool scene because he sees it very far out. I know he has X-ray vision, but did we know he had super vision like that? I don't know if we've ever seen Superman doing that before. He might have, but it's just this is
No,
my first time thinking of it.
yeah.
So, anyways, it's a really cool scene where we see they're driving down a straight road because it's Kansas, of course, and we see. But there's nothing out there but roads and
Roads and wheat fields.
roads and wheat fields at the Kent farm. Um, so we see Luther locks up the truck driver while Clark zooms a van on top of a little random desert structure. Luther breaks into
Yeah.
the truck and steals the kryptonite. We're going back to the teenagers now with Jonathan has a meltdown with his locker and a new love interest enters. Her name is Tegan. This is the first and only time we have seen Tegan. Future spoilers, I apologize. We go back to the Kent farm where Jordan is still practicing with his hearing, but is just not able to completely do it yet. He pulls open his phone and sees a picture of Sarah and hones in on her voice while she's talking to Jonathan. And then gets angry because he mishears a conversation and punches through a wall. He thinks his brother's going in on his girl, which is obviously not the case. Did you not see the hottie to naughty Tegan? I mean, come on. Get in on these conversations earlier, Jordan. We find out that Leslie is listening into the Kent's conversation with Luther out in the middle of the road while there's no other cars driving to and from. Again, I find that suspicious. We flash back to Luther's world once again, and we see Lois making a plea to find kryptonite and her getting killed while Luther and his daughter are in a bunker watching. That was a very, very cool way because he couldn't keep Lois from reporting, and she died reporting that he can be killed by kryptonite. Well, that was really well done. Of course, the daughter watches and he watches. They're both distraught. Tears are flowing. And flashback. Then we come back, and all Luther wants is a meeting with Superman. He sits there and talks to Clark and Lois out on the road again. Nobody driving to and from. No one notices there's a missing convoy. No one said anything about Superman coming through, flying through. Anyways, so all he wants is just a meeting with Superman. Let's see. And in exchange for a meeting with him, they give him the kryptonite. Luther begins preparations for the meet with Superman by rebuilding his suit just like what he did with his daughter Natalie on the other Earth. I mean, I still don't know what to call this. We don't have a name for this other Earth yet. So, anywho, we've got a lot of questions with this other Earth, and that's all I'm saying. Jonathan comes home and Jordan confronts him and they get into a fight and Jonathan slaps the wall to end the fight due to his hearing and just an absolute big brother dickish mood. I mean, he says, you know what, you're struggling with something, shapow, just right in his ear and he flops. And I was like, you know, that's such a brother thing to do. And again, Jonathan is getting the shaft. Oh, it's horrible.
Jordan deserved it though.
Yeah, I mean, both of these brothers have a lot of issues. And it's very evident in the next episode as well. Again, we're not going to do any future spoilers here until we get there. The beat-up finally happens, and I absolutely loved this next scene. Turns out, his name is not Luther, Chris. It is John Henry Irons is his real name. He traps Superman with the red sunlight and names himself the Man of Steel and puts on a glove that makes him Thor and brings in a giant steel hammer. He calls Superman the real threat. Turns out the hammer is a kinetic weapon. I put that in there just so we had a kind of name for it. Jordan hears his dad, and Jonathan and Jordan are on their way to save him. Lois is also en route. I forget how she found. Oh, she finds out that his name is John Henry Irons, and they go to the meetup. So, I thought it was very. I liked how the boys came together, and none of them know how to drive, and they drive in on the farm truck. I thought it was really cool. I put in all caps on my notes here. The Suns hit Irons with the car completely out of nowhere. he flies. The lights are affecting Jordan as well, and Jonathan turns off the solar lights. Lois gets there and stops Superman from harming Luther any further. Again, we saw the previous episode, his glowing eyes getting ready to absolutely fry someone's brains in, and he almost did it with Luther on the Irons on this one. And we got confirmation again, Jonathan has no powers. And I hate that. I hate the curveball they're throwing us, but, you know, it is what it is. Turns out the people Lana had selected for her project from last episode are all test subjects for Edge, and Lana now knows this. The Kents open up and tell the boys everything what's going on. They explain about Irons. They explain it all because they want to keep everybody in the loop. No more secrets, no more lies in this family. They're just trying to be together and figure this all out as a family. You know, I think it's a little too soon. I know it makes sense for the story, but one of the things that these shows have is secrets, and I'm really surprised we got in episode one Superman revealing his identity. Anywho, but that was that episode of episode 7, Man of Steel. Thought it was really well done. That was a great episode. We got a lot of answers out of it, but it's just I'm excited. Let's see what.
I it, so John Henry Irons,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, has origins, of course, in the comics as the character Steel. Um, this was always one of those DC characters that I thought was kind of interesting, right? Because the character in the comics, as in the show, is a black man.
Mm-hmm.
John Henry in folklore was a big black man who could drive steel or iron pegs into the railroads very, very quickly. And he actually races a machine that people claim can do it faster and dies beating the machine.
Mm.
So the fact John Henry Irons, the character's a tribute to that folklore character,
That's pretty cool. I
basically.
never knew that.
But I just thought that it was. I was like, when they said it, I was like, oh, really? Okay, we got Steel,
Mm-hmm.
but we're getting this sort of homage to this character out of American folklore. So it's kind of cool, but it's this is the character itself. We've talked about DC versus Marvel. It's a very DC thing that they did back in the day. Um, sort of pulling from sources like that, whereas Marvel just made stuff up.
Right.
DC kind of kept tying things to characters people already knew in folklore and things like that. So
I didn't know that. That's actually
I just
pretty
thought
cool.
it was interesting.
I never knew that. Ratings for this episode were 0.16. We are going to do it.
Ooh,
Excuse me. Well, it's up from 0.10, I believe, or 0.12 from the previous episodes.
I know the episodes pre-break were in the point twos and point threes. So it taking the break, I think it hurt them a little bit, but I think what also hurt them is when they come back, things are starting to reopen.
Mm-hmm.
So people are getting out a little
Getting
bit
out, not having to be
and
forced
doing
inside
stuff.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, next week's episode 8 is called "Holding the Wrench," and thank you for holding the wrench. We are going to jump right into that one. God, I'm on it with these segues today. All right, we start off. Lois is
Sure
in.
you are, Tyler.
We start off with Lois in therapy because of all the life changes going on and her losing her temper. We don't find out now who she lost her temper on. We assumed it was Clark, and then at one point I assumed it was Irons. Plot twist, neither one of those. We'll get there. Jonathan and Lois investigate the RV in the past, I guess is how we're going to say this. In the RV's AI responds and recognizes Lois. Of course, Lois Lane was Iron's wife in the other world, so he programmed the AI to be that way as well. Superman goes to question John Henry Irons slash Luthor and refuses to talk to anyone but Lois Lane, while Jonathan finds out about multiverses and about what she was to him. Jonathan and Lois, excuse me. They mention multiverses and parallel universes. Not
Hmm.
once did they mention Kara or the Crisis or anything. So
Yeah, it's very
I don't know
strange.
why they're not doing that.
None of that's
And
like,
I know they want it to be on its own feet first before they start bringing in heavy hitters from the other shows, but that's what makes the Arrowverse great. So
yeah. But you're about to lose Kara, so you might want to,
right, you might want to go
you
ahead
know.
and somehow bring them together. Um, but even the little crossover promos for this year, they're all like Tyler Hoechlin and Melissa Benoist is still on the promo art. So I'm like, we're still keeping them a part of Arrowverse, but I just don't. I don't understand how they're doing this. I just want to mention,
No.
let us for sure know we're still a part of this, but they don't.
Yeah.
They don't do it like You finished Arrow, right? All the way through.
Yeah.
So in Legends of Tomorrow, because Sarah Lance went to the funeral and all those like the last two episodes, they mentioned that in Legends of Tomorrow, and like she's off grieving. What's his name? Oliver, and I'm just like, why can't we do something like that? I know again we're trying to get season one up on its feet, trying to make it its own, but I enjoy this kind of stuff, and I'm sure a lot of other viewers do as
Yeah.
well. So, anyways,
Well, the thing is, it's an obvious connection, and if you ignore the obvious connection, it's like insulting the audience. You
right.
know, we're all sitting here waiting for it. It doesn't have to be a big thing, just like you said, a mention, and quit holding back.
Yeah, quit beating around the bush. Just give us what we want at this point. Anyways, turns out Lois and the therapist sessions are in the future, or we're still watching this episode. So it's kind of like, and not too far in the future, like we're watching present day, and then we're seeing this kind of back and forth. Jonathan goes back into the RV solo and watches the video of the other Lois being killed. One, that's traumatic. Poor Jonathan. Again, should have been her solo. We'll get there. He also finds the weapons stockpile and locks down the RV and is about to be killed. Superman comes home
Yeah.
at the absolute last second to save the day, and then gets lectured. And Jonathan gets lectured by his parents, which further alienates him. Guys, I know he was not supposed to be doing this. Could have gotten killed. Yada yada. Came last second. But the way that they are yelling and arguing at him is, especially Lois.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say he got lectured by Clark. He got destroyed by
Yeah.
Lois.
And I'm like, this kid is already so far alienated from the rest of the family and his place in the world, especially as a teenager. And they were this harsh to him. Obviously,
I,
we find out this is who Lois is talking about, who she was yelling at.
I like I did like in that scene that, you know, she sends him to his room, and when she's done just ripping him apart,
Right.
and the look on Clark's face is just like, uh, do do I say anything?
Right. Do I need to do anything in this moment or just stand here?
And then and, and then he asks her if she's okay, and she says yes, and or says I forget what she responds with, but he's like, all right, gonna take that as a no.
Yeah.
Just
We see, I love that we're doing family dynamics like this. Like, we're still having a superhero show, but it's still a family growing up and, with the
right.
greatest superhero of all time. Turns out, what the so I put, Lois explodes on Jonathan with a fantastic mom dialogue, and this is obviously the thing she's talking to her therapist about. And then we go over to Lana. Turns out that Lana didn't recruit her husband for the Edge program, and he's taking that a little bit to heart. But it's because Lars said it, told him that there was a position, but Lana knows it differently. We obviously found out last episode that these people are the ones being experimented on with the Kryptonite X. She did not want her husband doing that, and therefore did not recruit him, but didn't tell Morgan Edge and Lars that. So,
Yeah, he's already kind of off kilter enough. I can
mm-hmm.
imagine him with powers.
Yeah. My wife, she says that um, they think he is going to somehow end up getting powers or putting himself on the program, and it's going to be a Superman and him dual fight off at the end of the season, which I could see.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I just don't know how this. And I want to say it. I know it might be an unpopular opinion, but the whole Lana, Kyle, and Sarah storylines, I don't care. Other than the love
Yeah,
interest and everything, I don't care. And
yeah, I'm right there with you.
I just every time they came on screen, I don't take much notes just because it's none of it feels interesting to me. Like it's not even B storyline. I feel like it's C or D storylines, and I'm just like they're kind of filler content, and I'm not about it.
Yeah, Sarah's interactions with Jordan and Jonathan are fine.
Yes, keep those
Um,
because we need the love
you know,
interest.
because that's right, that's developing. I don't even have an issue with Lana per se and her how she interacts with Clark and Lois.
Hmm.
Like having her as a character that comes in and you have some friendly interactions, and then you're going to have something misinterpreted that they become enemies for a brief time, and then
Mm,
they come back. You know, that back and forth. I just I, he can go. I don't
yeah,
need him in the
it's
story.
we've
You
already
know, and
understand he's depressed, he's abusive, he's a drinker. I mean, we've seen it all. We don't.
and he's a firefighter, which is
Yeah,
bad. You don't want to go to a fire loaded with alcohol.
right. It's just
Louis.
asking for an explosion. So we'd come to find out that Lois has a miscarriage prior to Jordan and Jonathan. Turns out the miscarriage's name. Do it. Oh, was it
I thought it
after?
was after.
Oh, it might have been after.
I think they were 18 months old.
That's what it was because there was a picture of all of them, and okay, that's what it was. It was after. Um, it turns out that it was going to be a girl, and her name was going to be Natalie, just like Irons and Lane's kid was named Natalie in the other world, and that's how they tied that together, and that's why she was a little shaken up when she found out that he had a daughter named Natalie, because we saw it on her face.
Yeah.
I didn't put two and two together that something like this happened, and and that was the big point because she went to her therapist before due to this miscarriage, and we found out a little bit more history on that and how human Lois Lane is. Um, there is a bad guy infiltrating the DoD while all this is going down and kidnaps Irons. He takes him to R&D with kryptonite weapons, but Superman goes there anyways. Of course, we have these cliche. Just I wish shows would do this either differently or just not do them at all. We don't need these cliche conversations with Superman and kryptonite. Oh, you were storing kryptonite to use against me? Yeah. I mean, duh. I mean, why is this a trust issue still?
Well, they they mention it earlier in the series. He finds out about it, right?
Right.
So
I don't
why is it a
understand it.
surprise?
Uh,
The only thing that they should have discussed is when he tells him that, hey, some of it's aerosol, some,
mhm.
break down what type so he knows what he's walking into. But the
Right.
fact that it's there shouldn't be a surprise.
I mean, this is if I'm
It,
Clark or Superman, whoever you want to be, or let's just say Superman. I'd be like, oh, that makes sense because if I ever get a hold of red kryptonite, I turn into like a complete, doucher and I am killing everybody and everything. I would hope they would have this because I want to protect the people of this planet. Or if there's any
right,
rogue kryptonite, Kryptonians coming in. Maybe future spoilers that we don't know yet. Anyways, they do that whole
right,
cliche thing. He's like, oh, you don't want to go to that 7734, which if you turn it upside down, calculator says hell. Anyways, he says you don't want to go down there. That's where we're stockpiling our kryptonite. He says, we're doing a whole bunch of experiments and stuff down there. He goes down there anyways. A cool little battle ensues with the kryptonite gas and the other fake Kryptonians. That's obviously from Edge. And he puts a gas mask on. The aerosol gas fight was pretty cool. It didn't really harm Superman that much because they were still able to fight. This is a much different kryptonite effect than what we see with the Clark Kent and Smallville, where it just
mhm,
anytime he gets near it, he can't move. This time he can move and fight. He's just a little bit weaker. He saves Iron, sends him out in the hallway while he still fights this guy, and then while the Edge villain and Superman duke it out, Lois and the rest of the DoD barges in before Irons can kill Superman. Irons stabs and kills through the infiltrator and almost kills him, but Lois and the rest of the DoD barges in. Lois talks Irons down. He says, he's not bad. This is not what you want to do, and is able to talk him down. We go out and we go back to the Kent farm after another conversation about the synthetic Kryptonian gas that they were testing and the spear and all this other stuff. Again, cliche conversations. And I'm like, for once, I'm actually pro Sam Lane on this whole conversation. I'm just like, dude, again, I've already said it. We're not going to go there. We see Irons is hanging out on the Kent farm getting his RV together, and we see the brothers and they're just kind of stalking him. And we find out that turns out that Irons was right and Edge is making Kryptonians. And that's episode 8. And called Holding the Wrench. which I thought was really well done at the very beginning of the episode. But we see
Yeah.
we did see a nice little monologue with Jonathan and Lois. They got back together. I thought it was a very touching scene. She says, "I don't have powers." She goes, "But I feel scared all the time. But I have to pull through. I have a place in this world, and you do too." And I thought that was a very touching way to keep Jonathan involved. I still think there's going to be some brotherly rivalry, but Jamie, my wife, said the same thing. She goes, "I think he's going to be the Lois Lane of the family and be a reporter instead of what's normally in the comic books where Jonathan Kent is the one with powers." So that was real well done.
What if they swerve us though? What if something happens that um, Lois and or Jonathan? I mean, it could be both of them. What if they get, say, she gets captured
Okay.
by Edge? Jonathan tries to save his mom. He gets captured. They both get given these superpowers.
Mm. And because he's got
I don't
Kryptonian
know, just
DNA, he might keep it.
yeah, he would
Oh
keep it.
God, I want that so bad. I just want a super fight between the two brothers. I mean, I don't want to put them
It
through that, but I kind of want that.
they still haven't explained what we saw in what was it, the pilot when little Jonathan slings the
You're right.
football and it
Straight
it
through a
just
rope.
destroys the tire swing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe I feel like they glossed over that and are still glossing over that, and maybe he just might be like a late bloomer. But
yeah.
with I guess 3 episodes ago now, where he stopped the fight from Jordan, I could have swore that was us seeing him having super strength. Obviously, not the correct thing,
Well,
but
I mean, it broke his wrist, but like we talked about, to most people that would have turned their bones to dust
right.
because that was everything Jordan had. Like he pulled
Mm-hmm.
back. He was full force with the punch. And when he stopped it, all it did was break his wrist.
Yeah.
I mean, you see Jordan put a dent in a log, an imprint,
Just like
perfect
Clark.
imprint of his fist. Yeah, to be able to do that, if he hit a normal hand, it probably pulverizes that bone.
Just gonna have to cut it
So
off and cut your
Jonathan
losses.
probably Jonathan probably has something. It's just not like you said, he's a late bloomer. It's not manifested yet.
Yeah. So that was the rent holding the wrench. I thought it was a nice name for it. And ratings went down again. We're back down to 0.10 for this episode. And episode 9 is titled Loyal Subjects. Instead of a C at the end, it's a K. So obviously, we're talking about Kryptonians. So, and now, Chris, it is time for Nashville, Tennessee's favorite segment of our show, and that is who is our douche canoe
Julio
between
Jones
these.
show.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, of course.
no.
Wrong podcast. The douche canoe of these two episodes. Of course, we're going to combine them. I want to go in and put my pitch for Kyle. I don't know his last name, but for Kyle, dude missed his. He was a jerk to Lana. Of course, he doesn't know the full
Uh-huh.
story, and then he also missed his daughter's recital where he was supposed to play the guitar for her, and
By the way, Jordan came through like a champ
yeah, he
in that,
did.
didn't he?
I didn't put it in there because I didn't think it was that big of a story beat, but
Uh,
for
a little rusty
Kyle,
on the piano.
yeah, he got there. He figured he got there. But that's my pitch for douche canoe.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good one. I mean, I think the only other one that you could go with would be, and I'm drawing a blank on her name, Edge's assistant.
Lar.
For stirring, yeah, for stirring the pot on that in the first place. And she knew what she was doing when she told him that Edge had wanted him in the program and
Mm-hmm.
Lana didn't. So, but that's kind of her character.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Kyle's probably the one that don't get me wrong, that the actor playing him's doing a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see any interest in the character on my part going forward.
Do you think
He's
he
just
dies?
not. I think he sacrifices himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Somehow, some way,
I think
I can
that's
see it.
his payoff with all the bad that he's done, and then I think that causes a rift between Lana and Lois and between Sarah and Jordan and Jonathan,
Mm-hmm.
because there'll be that little bit of blame that somehow they were to blame for what he had to sacrifice himself for.
See, future spoilers. I'm telling you, I know things. Okay, well, Kyle is our douche canoe for this episode. I like it. I like it a lot. And something else I like, Chris, is we got 7 news stories here for our TV news. This, of course, this is the super episode, is what we're going to call this one. We've got
Only 7?
only 7. We got a lot to talk about, especially in movies. So number
Yeah.
one, the CW's Powerpuff Girls live action pilot is being reworked. This is not good. I hate when I saw this article. My heart went to my stomach. I did not like this because that's not good.
They said that they're perfectly happy with the cast, right?
Right.
They just wanted to rework the script, so we'll see how that goes. But
I
yeah,
read a page of the script that someone leaked online of the original pilot, and the reason I know it was the actual script is because it got copyrighted and took down within a couple hours. This page I saw flying around, and it did not look good. Like I can't remember. It just I'm trying to say because I don't want this show to get copyright for what I read, but it was like a little teenage, young adult conversations in the bedroom. Someone was talking about Instagram or Snapchat, like the and stuff like that. I'm just like it did not look good, Chris. I'm sorry. I should have taken a screenshot and sent it to you, but it did not look good. But we are going to tvline.com by Matt Webb Mitovich for this story. The CW's live action update of the Powerpuff Girls franchise is heading back to the drawing board to become a bit more, well, real. As reported on Monday, the Buzzy pilot did not make the cut for the CW's 2021-2022 slate, but is being reworked for later consideration, with all the cast and writers still attached. Quote, sometimes things miss, and this was just a miss, CW chairman and CEO Mark Pedowitz told TV Line during a Tuesday conference call. We believe in the cast completely. We believe in Diablo, Cody, and Heather Regnier, the writers, and we believe in the auspices of executive producer Greg Berlanti and Warner Brothers Studios. In this case, the pilot didn't work, but because we see enough elements in there, we're going to give it another shot. We didn't want to go forward with what we had. Asked by TV Line how exactly the first crack at a pilot came up short, Pedowitz said, tonally, it might have been a little too campy. It didn't feel as rooted in his reality as might have been. But again, you learn things when you test things out, and in this case, we felt like let's take a step back and go back to the drawing board.
so my question would be, before you do anything, you have a script,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you have to have something to show people that you want to be involved. If you didn't like the script after you cast everybody and you were getting ready to film the pilot, why didn't you not like it before
Yeah, what
and
changed?
have it reworked then? Yeah.
Okay.
Was it, I wonder if they started rehearsals or something and actually saw it playing out and said, yeah, this ain't gonna work.
Uh, I don't know. It's just I don't like this because obviously we're attached to a lot of the stars that are playing in this, and we want this to succeed. But the internet, on the other hand, which of course is the internet, they don't want it to succeed. But I want them to prove them wrong so bad, and I hope they come back
The,
stronger and
the
even better with this.
the other thing I would ask you, because again, I never watched the show, right? It seems like a property, from what little I know about it, that's not going to be hurt by a little campiness.
Mm-mm.
Is that wrong?
No, no, it's
So,
yeah, it's. But like, I really wish I would have screenshotted it and sent it to you so you could have read it with me, because it was bad from what that page, and I was like, oh, there's no way this was real. But the how fast they took that down, I was like, oh, it was real. It was not good, but
So they were talking about Instagram and Snapchat and
Right.
TikTok and
Yeah,
all this stuff.
you know how she is on Instagram. It's never gonna work that way. It's like stuff like that, and I was like, oh, this is not good. But we'll see what they come up with next. But some pretty huge fun news here. The Flash season 8 will kick off with 5 crossover type episodes featuring superhero team ups from across the Arrowverse. 5. One, two, three, four, 5 episodes. We are going to entertainment.com for this one by Chancellor Agard. The CW is staging multiple Arrowverse team ups this fall. On Tuesday, this is the same network call that they had about Powerpuff Girls. On Tuesday, network chairman and CEO Mark Pedowitz announced that season 8 of The Flash will begin with 5 special event episodes featuring heroes from across the Arrowverse, or the CWverse as he is still insisting on calling it. We're not going to call it that. Quote, the idea for The Flash is Eric Wallace and executive producer Greg Berlanti have come together, and we're talking about our other superheroes from the CWverse that will come together in each individual episodes. I bet this is the crossover. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Pedowitz told reporters during a press conference, it will not quite be a crossover, but it will have a crossover type feel with the introduction of all of these characters. Pedowitz didn't say which actors would visit The Flash in November. Quote, I'll let you have those conversations with Eric Wallace, Pedowitz told EW on the call. We do know that there are a couple feelers out there to couple the actors, but we have no definitives yet. One of those feelers is likely regarding Black Lightning star Cress Williams, who just wrapped up his 4-season run on the topical superhero show. In a recent interview with EW, Williams confirmed that The Flash has twice reached out to gauge his interest in guest starring in season 8. Please make that happen. Quote, we're just in the
Right.
talk phase, said Williams, who just moved back to Los Angeles, making visiting Vancouver for a guest stint much easier logistically. I really enjoyed the crossover last year. Specifically, I think me and Grant Gustin. We're just very like minded in how we approach the work, and we had great conversations. One of my favorite scenes of doing this character was a scene between me and him in the library on the Wave Rider and Crisis on Infinite Earths. So the thought of being able to go back and do an episode here or there, yeah, I'm down for that. So the CW
Huh.
they went on to say the CW had to scrap its annual Arrowverse crossover this year because the COVID-19 pandemic made it virtually impossible to write and schedule a multi-episode event spanning multiple shows and featuring multiple actors. Instead of the usual crossover fun, Arrow alum David Ramsey is guest starring as John Diggle on several of the shows, including Batwoman, Superman and Lois, The Flash, and Supergirl. I didn't know that was confirmed that he was going to be on Superman and Lois.
Uh, I don't know. I don't know.
Unless
Good
they're
question.
they're thinking with him, the thought
Being
was with him
involved
directing
as
it.
director,
Yeah.
he was.
Anyways, I thought
Um.
that's crazy and I'm
So
excited.
so um. I understand why they couldn't write the crossover to take place when it normally does. What if they had switched gears though and written a crossover that was going to end every show's season? You got
Mm.
Supergirl coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have used it as a way to send her off.
Same thing with
And you
Black
just
Lightning
have
as
this
well.
massive event that ends. Yeah, you have this massive event that ends all the seasons for the shows and gives you a big cliffhanger moment
I think they
for
should have
next fall.
done with what, and they still might. We don't know with Black Lightning just ended, so never mind. But with Arrow, I like how in Crisis, again, spoilers for those who have not seen Crisis. It's 2 years old at this point. But where Stephen Amell died, and they did 2 more episodes of Arrow to wrap everything back up. And
Right.
I think that would be great for like Black Lightning, or what would have been great for Black Lightning and even Supergirl, is they do this big event, but only like a couple more episodes just to wrap everything back up, give all the actors their last little thing. But end all the other seasons. Like end your Superman and Lois during the crossover event. Like the crossover event is the last episode, stuff like that. That'd be great. Like clean
Yeah.
up your main storylines an episode or two before, and then bring them into the crossover. But
I, it sounds like Cress Williams doesn't want to hang out in Vancouver all the time.
yeah, that's a big part of that job.
Like he's cool to go. Yeah, and but if it weren't for that, what would you think about him becoming the next, or Black Lightning becoming the next member of the Wave Rider?
God, that would have been so much fun. Like if he didn't have his family, I think he would have, because that's the only thing
Well, that's
grounding him to
easy.
reality. or even have Painkiller as a permanent member. Like, oh
Yeah, because he's not getting his own show anymore.
no, dude, that would be so good, and they still might do that actually, but
Maybe.
we could have just called them out. They never know. Our next story here is another DC story. Jeremy Irvine confirms his casting as Alan Scott in the Green Lantern HBO Max series. We're going to comicbook.com by Jenna Anderson. Details are gradually coming to light about HBO Max's Green Lantern, an ambitious adaptation of multiple characters who have taken on the mantle in DC Comics canon. The latest details about the series have surrounded the casting of Alan Scott, with reports last week indicating that Warhorse and Mamma Mia Here We Go Again actor Jeremy Irvine was in talks for the role. Now it looks like Irvine is officially signed on to play Alan Scott, as the actor took to Instagram to break his silence on the role. In the post, which you could check out below, Irvine reveals that he's very excited to be joining the DC universe and that he can't wait to get started either with the role. And it's quote, it's literally his Instagram post. It's very excited to be joining the DC universe. Can't wait to get started. And then he quotes the Green Lantern's motto action title. Anyways, what turns them into the Green Lantern. So that's pretty cool. Got our official
Which
confirming there.
which Alan Scott do you think we get? Do you think we get the what was it, Golden Age,
Justice
the
Society,
original Alan Scott, or do you
which
think we get the
is in Stargirl, by
do
the
you
way.
think we get the rebooted Alan Scott? What do you think we get the rebooted Alan Scott
I think
that
the
came out just
rebooted
what?
one because
Yeah,
with
it's more timely though
yeah.
for the rebooted
I,
because he has a life partner, his sexual orientation
mhm.
changes, you know, that sort of thing. So I feel like that's the way that they're going to go with it.
Well, in Stargirl, Alan, there's already an Alan Scott in, and I don't know if this HBO version is going to cross over. I doubt it, but again, with Hull, I don't know how Warner Brothers just cannot get this yet. But like you have very successful. We've said this so many times before, Chris. You've got very successful
Yeah.
TV shows, and well, anyways, the so there is a Green
Yeah.
Lantern in obviously John Diggle as a Green Lantern now. We got kind of got confirmation of that in the last episode of Arrow. And
Mhm.
there's a Green Alan Scott Green Lantern in Stargirl. So
Right.
which
Now you have another
yeah.
Alan Scott.
So it just doesn't make any sense to me. And they don't know what they're
And
doing.
we no, and I know at one point when we were talking about it, we mentioned the way that you have the multiple Earths,
Mm-hmm.
and we figured, okay, well that's what they're I don't think that's the plan. I think
No.
that's what they're hiding behind
But you can't
because
even hide behind that
they
anymore because of
just
Crisis.
crapshoot. Let's right. It's just been crapshoot. We want someone new for this role on the movie screen. We want someone new for this on the TV screens. And now, like you said, you can't hide behind it anymore.
Mm-mm.
So what do you?
You keep confusing your
DC needs a
audience.
complete reboot.
Yeah.
DC needs and it sucks because a complete reboot means you lose some of these great castings that you've gotten for characters like Wonder Woman and Aquaman and
Mm-hmm.
Flash from the TV show, and but they need to start over. They need to find their Kevin Feige
It's exactly what
and
they need to do.
just start from scratch.
They won't.
But they won't do it.
That makes too much sense. But you know what, Chris? What does make sense, and we're going into some little bit of Marvel news on this one. Number 4, we got WandaVision creator Jack Schaefer inks 3-year deal to develop TV projects for Marvel Studios and 20th Television. We're going to Hollywood Reporter for this one by Leslie Goldberg. Disney and Marvel liked what it saw from Jack Schaefer. The WandaVision creator has inked a 3-year overall deal with Marvel and 20th Television. Under the pact, she will create and develop TV projects for both Disney-owned platforms. WandaVision was Marvel's first TV series that directly connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The series, starring Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, reprising their film roles as Wanda and Vision, respectively, was made an immediate critical breakout for Disney Plus and is already in the conversation for the limited series Emmys. I did not know that. Schaefer created WandaVision and served as head writer, aka showrunner, on the series. She also contributed to the story for Marvel's upcoming Black Widow feature. Schaefer, who started her career in 2009 as a writer, director, producer on the feature Timer, also penned the screenplay for Disney's animated 2017 short Olaf's Frozen Adventure and 2019's The Hustle, starring Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. She's rep by Rip Large, Verve, and Paul Hastings. I did not know that she's had her hand in so many good projects like that. But it makes sense. They said, no, we want you. We're going to keep you.
It's interesting to me that they're already plugging WandaVision as the first MCU-linked TV series when we've had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we've had Agent Carter, you know.
Mm-hmm. Inhumans, kind of, sort of.
Inhumans was planned, but they never really
No,
connected it.
because it's
They
not
didn't have
even mentioned in
time.
the MCU whatsoever.
Right. But Agent Carter was definitely connected, and
Right.
so was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before they decided after the fact to disconnect
I
those
still don't even know
series.
why that was disconnected.
You would think Agent Carter would stayed at
Right.
least, right?
What do
Because
we
I
know?
mean, she's established in Endgame as being
Mm-hmm.
still this character. Uh,
Doesn't make any sense. Again, just a little bit more Marvel news here. Danny Guerrero to return as Okoye. I'm butchering that name. In an Origin spin-off series on Disney Plus. We're going to Deadline.com by Anthony D'Alessandro. We hear from sources that Danai Guerrero will be returning as Okoye, again, General of the Dora Milaje in Ryan Coogler's upcoming Black Panther Wakanda Forever, as well as reprising the character in an Origin spin-off series for Disney Plus. Disney did not have any comment about the report. It would not come as a shock if Guerrero also started the Wakanda series, which Coogler is developing for Disney Plus. So that's awesome. That's again not
yeah,
necessarily a story I think we really need an origin story for, but am I happy we're getting one? Absolutely. I
yeah.
love that actress and fell in love with her in Walking Dead. She came in on Black Panther, did an excellent job. I'm all for it.
Well, I think we're gonna get a lot more stuff like this because I think it's gonna go the way Star Wars has gone, where they're gonna, all right, we're gonna tell you the big stories, but
Mm,
then we're also gonna develop shows like this that are gonna tell you the backgrounds for all these other
your
characters
Rogue
that
Ones
we can't
and
justify making a movie about. Yeah.
I love it. And something else I love, Chris, I think I'm glad you asked. Number 6, The Last of Us HBO series has found its Marlene. We're going to Variety.com on this one by Alex Stedman. HBO's The Last of Us is bringing back a cast member from the video game to reprise her role in the TV series. Merle Dandridge, who played Marlene in the Last of Us game, will return to portray her in her HBO's adaptation of the beloved title. Marlene is the head of the Fireflies, a resistance movement struggling for freedom against an oppressive military regime. Of course, Dandridge joins the star-studded cast that includes Pedro Pascal as Joel, Bella Ramsey as Ellie, and Gabriel Luna as Tommy. That's awesome. Would I have loved to have seen Troy Baker reprise his role as Joel? Absolutely. Am I hurt that Pedro Pascal is playing him? Not at all. So I just I feel like if they're going to do her as Marlene, then we could have had Joel. But I'm sure Troy Baker probably said, "I'll let someone else do this." I'm a voice actor, so.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, he didn't want to do a live action
Mm-hmm.
series.
So I mean, he's still a great actor, but I get it. In our last news story is coming at kind of a shock to me because I almost started watching this show after one of my shows. Number 7, Jupiter's Legacy effectively canceled after one season. We're going to Collider.com, and again, I'm going to warn you all, they do kind of take a lot of stabs at the show. I'm only 5 minutes into the first episode, so I really don't know all this yet, but we're going into it. This is at Collider.com by Scott Campbell. Netflix has canceled Jupiter's Legacy after just one 8-episode season that only premiered on May 7th, but the streaming service is not giving up on Mark Millar's Miller World just yet. Jupiter's Legacy will now be reworked into an anthology series, with Super Crooks coming into live action as the next Mark Miller adaptation. So not really canceled. It's just they're staying in that world, just not with Jupiter's Legacy. The entire principal cast of
Mhm.
Jupiter's Legacy and their terrible wigs have been released from their contracts, and you get the distinct impression that pivoting towards an anthology model so soon was never the platform's plan, having initially shelled out over $30 million to acquire Millerworld in the first place, of which Jupiter's Legacy was the first project. To Hollywood Reporter's Boris Kitt reports that the first season of Jupiter's Legacy as a whole cost a whopping $200 million, but the show failed to pick up the kind of buzz the streaming service was hoping for. Again,
It's a lot of money.
yeah, I can't really say much on it because I haven't personally watched the show yet. I have not heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, I haven't either.
So
I haven't either.
maybe that's for the best, but the first 5 minutes are really good, Chris. That's all I'm saying.
That's what she said.
Releases for these 2 weeks. We wanted to go ahead and tell you about everything that's coming out just in case you missed it. Friday, June 4th, Marvel Studios Legends Loki episode came out on Disney Plus, and then Friday, June 4th as well, Sweet Tooth from the producers Robert Downey Jr. and his wife came out as well. Have not delved into that. Potentially might delve into that this week. And then this week coming up, we've got Wednesday, June 9th with Loki on Disney Plus, which means by Friday, make sure you have watched it because I'm sure spoilers are going to be everywhere after those 2 days. You get with it.
And definitely by the time we record,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about
Yeah,
everything
spoilers
in there.
galore at that
So
point. So
yeah. So that was a fairly lengthy TV segment.
that was only an hour, not a big deal.
Now for the next hour and a half, we're gonna talk movies. First off, before we get into the movie of the week, and we didn't watch one um, this week. We just went with the one from last week.
Right.
So we only have one to talk about. But Tyler, did you watch anything
I sure did.
extra?
I sure did. We'll start off with Raya and the Last Dragon, the newest Disney animated movie. Excuse me, so well done. Story was great. It felt like a superhero show, and
Mm.
I advise everybody to watch that one. That one is just it's of course it's free on Disney Plus now. It's out of its 30-day premiere window, and it's the newest princess movie, and I'm very excited. It was really good. I give that one an A minus for me on Raya and the Last Dragon. Because that's not all I watched movie wise. Of course, Friends the Reunion surprise dropped on HBO Max, and I watched the whole 2 hour reunion episode. And I'm a huge Friends fan and have always loved it. Yes, Ross and Rachel were on a break. There's no doubt about that. But to see this cast and crew come together 20 years later after everything went down, and then the way that HBO did this, I watched the Fresh Prince of Bel Air reunion, and that one was good, but this one was leagues better than that one. They had them come in, they had them one by one come into the set, and hear them talk about the set and things that happened on there, and then flashbacks, and then they did a whole little things with James Corden a little bit. Kind of wish they didn't have that part, but it still made sense and it was really well done. They even had like the writers, they had surprise guests. I'm not going to ruin any of those for you. No, Paul Ruddle's not on there. I don't know why. Um, but
Did
just
Tom Selleck pop up?
I'm not answering that. But there were a lot of people that showed up. Did you know that Matt LeBlanc? No, Matt LeBlanc plays. Yeah, he plays Joey. Did you know
Joey.
he dislocated his shoulder on set during one of the
Uh-uh.
episodes? Yeah, there was like a bunch of stuff I had no idea about, and like there were.
So
Go ahead.
which set did they use?
All of them.
Was it Central Park
Yep,
or was
the
it?
Central Park was there. The both of the
Oh, they
apartments
they
were
hopped
there.
around.
Yeah, like well, they're all.
Okay.
They were actually because they filmed. They had it on location where they filmed it at, and so they're
Right.
all three like next to each other. Like they're just rooms, like you
Yeah.
would in a house. I did
Yeah.
stuff like that because I guess I never grew up in like the golden age of sitcoms. I never knew stuff like that was filmed in a live audience. Like Fresh Prince of Bel Air was my
Yeah.
first time I realized that there was an actual audience there. And they even
Yeah.
talked
The
about
the way
how.
the
Oh,
way
go ahead.
the way that you could do it back then is you know if you were traveling to LA to Hollywood, you could write weeks in advance, maybe months. You could write to the studio that produced whichever show, and you could ask for tickets. And I don't remember if you had. I don't think you had to pay for them. I think it was like a lottery. Like
Oh,
they just
that's
threw your name,
awesome.
and it was like, yeah, hey, and that's how they filled the audience every week.
Well, and one of the things that they talked about, looking back on it and thinking of this episode, I was like, well, I guess that makes sense. Well, so again, this is not spoiler; it's been out for 20 years. But the scene where we get the reveal that, oh god, I'm blanking on their names. Courtney Cox's character and
Monica.
Monica and Chandler, the first reveal that they slept together in London. So that was a
Mm-hmm.
big reveal, and during the episode, there's like 3 or 4 minutes. Well, that's about 2 or 3 minutes of them of the crowd cheering and hooping and hollering. And I guess I didn't even realize that that was a live audience, and they would not stop. And they originally the writer said, I'm not spoiling anything huge here, but originally the writer said that that was just gonna be like a little fling thing in London. But based off of the audience's reaction and how long it was, they decided to write them into being a couple for the rest of the series. And I was like, that's crazy to me that they did that. But I highly recommend the Friends of the Reunion episode. A lot of behind the scenes stuff. You see them all come together for like the first time in years. A lot of them do not even look to each other, look like each other. A lot of them had face work. Obviously, Courtney Cox being the biggest one. It was kind of weird to see some of that stuff, but it was, and like they showed so much cool stuff. Like they showed the impact it had on the world when they knew it was big, and just it was really well done. I advise everybody to watch that, even if you only watched a couple episodes of Friends.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, that's all I watched.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check it
Yeah,
out.
it's good.
That's all. So, let's get into our movie discussion then. The Woman in the Window. Now, this is a film starring Amy Adams.
Mm-hmm.
We also get Anthony Mackie in here. We get
Did not see that coming, by the way.
Wyatt Russell in here.
Did
They
not see that one either.
they did not interact.
Mm-mm.
They did not have scenes together. Um, this was this was a film that I heard people were polarized on it, whether they loved it or hated it or just were kind of whatever. Um, so I didn't know really what to think going in. The story is basically this woman is a shut-in. She has a brownstone in New York City, um, and she's agoraphobic,
Mm-hmm.
which means she doesn't want to be outside, doesn't want to be around crowds. Even the way she acts early on, even people, a single person that she's not that familiar with, makes her nervous. And she has a therapist that she talks to that comes by, I guess, once a week.
Mm-hmm.
The film takes place pretty much over the course of a week, um, and we get flashbacks. So I'm debating how much to go into because it is a newer movie.
Yeah, and we can
But
do light spoilers, not the big, I guess not the too big twist at the end, but we can go into like light
yeah,
spoilers.
yeah. So it's based on a book. If you've read the book, the movie's different from the book. They change things. I've not read the book, but I've heard people that have pointed out some of the differences. Um, Basically, something in her past. She used to be a well, I guess technically she still is a psychiatrist or
Mm-hmm.
therapist.
A child
Something in
psychiatrist.
her past triggered, yeah, something in her past triggered this this agoraphobia. Um, she, when I pitched watching this to Tyler, I mentioned that it's supposed to be kind of similar to Rear Window
Mm-hmm.
because she witnesses a crime and you actually see at the very beginning of the film as the camera's panning toward where she's at, there's a TV that's on, and there's a shot of Jimmy Stewart on the TV, and it's from Rear Window. So, um, she a family moves in across from her, She witnesses something through the window, which she's basically spying on these people.
Yeah, she's
So it's
stalking
very
all of
strange.
these, like this whole
It's like
building worth of people
you're
she's stalking.
yeah, you're a little bit of a creeper here. But she witnesses something that starts this real spiral for her. The family does have a young son who brings her a gift, and she even comments, uh, "I should be the one giving you a gift
Mm-hmm.
because you're new to the neighborhood." But he brings a gift over. She lets him borrow some movies because apparently he's not allowed to watch movies. We've talked about now for a couple of films that we've watched that there were these scenes that were a little uncomfortable, and there's one here where um, she embraces the young man,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, what do you? It just seemed really weird,
Yeah.
really inappropriate. She's standing there in a bathrobe, and this hug that they have lasts just a little too long. And at the time, you don't really know why. You find out later that there's more to it from her side as to why that is. The performances, I think, are really, really
Oh,
good. Um,
every single person's performance was great.
Wyatt Russell's character lives downstairs.
Yeah,
She rents to
he's a
him.
tenant.
He's just her tenant. He does a little bit of handyman work if she needs it on this or that. Um, but in the I will say this, in the book, they actually have a thing,
Ah, I'm sure.
and it doesn't happen in the movie.
Now, did you
Um,
read the book before or after the movie?
I've not read the book.
Okay.
I listened to someone else talking about the
Okay.
movie since watching it that had read the book. So there's Anthony Mackie is her husband in the film, and they have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's about all I'm willing to say as far as the story without spoiling
Mm-hmm.
anything, because there's not a lot that you can say.
Did you? So going into this, I was thinking this was more of like a scary thriller, and
Yeah.
but I was as we're watching it, and the crime happens. I've looked over to my wife, and we had a friend over the time watching it with us. I said, I'm going to find out what the twist is before it's revealed. Now, did you call the twist before it happened?
Um, which twist?
Uh, the one with the crime.
No, no, I didn't
I
because
did.
I was going a different. Did you? I was going a different direction in my brain with thinking something else was up.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I didn't call that one. I did call the other one.
Yeah, I got. I guess the grand picture, I got half of it right. Um, of uh, who was the the receiving end of the crime, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I called out who they were, like early on, like once they started doing their whole little mind
Well,
bending thing. I was like, that's who that is.
well, I'll so that there's a twist. So technically there would be three twists
Right.
in the movie. There would be the twist about what you just talked about. There's a twist about the crime itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who the perpetrator is. But then there's also a twist about um, what's going on with Amy Adams' character and her husband, whom
Mm-hmm.
she says she's separated from, and their daughter.
That was
So there's three twists in this story,
mm,
essentially.
that's good. I I
So
enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to.
yeah, it I graded it after hearing other people talk about it, and that kind of affected my grade, hearing how it had changed from the book. So I think on Letterboxd I gave it 2.5 stars. It
That's
came in at about a C.
that's where I'm at. I'm at right at yeah, I would say right at a C. I enjoyed the movie a lot more than I thought I would. The twist, the one twist that I could call, I I don't know if I could catch it, it can't be that good of a twist. But the other two I did not. That were crazy. The ending scene, the two ending scenes, the
Uh-huh.
aftermath, and then when the whole thing went down, and then the aftermath, I thought were so well done, and they did such a good job, especially with the detective. I did not expect to like the detective as much as I did, and I've got some hot takes on him, but that's very spoilery, so I don't want to get into that on show. But I really enjoyed Gary Oldman. Um,
Yeah.
he played such a good job. Ethan Russell, the son, did a really good job. And then Amy
Yeah.
Adams doing her stuff was fun. And then Wyatt Russell just acted like Captain America. So
Yeah.
his character in that one.
Yeah. Gary Oldman plays the father of the family
Yeah.
across the street, and he and there is a scene where he confronts, I mean, out
Yeah.
of frustration,
Yes.
confronts her. And once you see the story play out, what he tells her, you understand what he comes off as meaning one thing when you first see it, but then after you see the end of the movie, it takes on a new meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, yeah, I'd say it's a definite C. I'd still say people watch it
Yeah. I mean, it's
because I
on
think there
Netflix.
are
It's
people
free.
that will just absolutely. Hmm. Yeah, but it's definitely worth a watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's well done. Like I said before, I found out some of the changes that they made for the movie story-wise. I would have probably given this about a B minus in that range,
Yeah.
but it knocked it down knowing what it could have been for me. So on to the news. Um,
We got
well,
our movie
first
for
off,
next
next
week.
week from from Netflix, from Netflix, Outside the Wire.
Also,
Tyler,
Anthony Mackie movie.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
is that all you want to say about it, or
I mean, yeah, I could give the IMDb
the
synopsis.
synopsis?
Yeah, Outside the Wire. It was made came out this year. We'll go to it. In the near future, a drone pilot sent into a war zone finds himself paired with a top secret android officer on a mission to stop a nuclear attack. Of course, the android is played by Anthony Mackie. It's rated R, it's 2 hours long, and on IMDb it's sitting at 5.4 stars out of 10. So it's got a good cast on it. Michael Kelly's in it. Uh, Emily Beecham, Anthony Mackie, of course. So he's been in a lot of stuff. He needs to tone it down a little bit. All right, quit making money.
Well, he's trying to stay in shape so that he doesn't have to get back in shape for
Right.
Captain
I mean, it
America
makes
4.
sense. So.
So that's yeah. On to our news. Um, the Eternals trailer premiered,
Mhm.
and it tallied 77 million global views in its first 24 hours. So, Tyler, this is one that I'm ashamed to say I missed. I just
So you're not
that
missing a lot, and I'm very. And I say this about a lot of these characters and movies. I said this about Guardians of the Galaxy, so take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. I don't think this is going to be a big hit for Marvel. And just because these characters in the trailer just didn't look Like I don't even know who the villain is of this movie, and this comes out in November. And they had a little at the end of the scene. They had a little situation with the Eternals. They're all a big ancient family, and they were all sitting there eating. And one of the guys says, with Captain America and Iron Man gone, can I lead the Avengers? And they all kind of look around for 2 seconds. And they all start burst out into laugh, and boom, that's it. That's the end of it. I'm just like, I mean, it takes place in the past, the present, and in the future. So I don't really. Uh, it's I don't. I'm not excited about this one. I'm just gonna put that there. But I said all the exact same things about Guardians of the Galaxy, and look how great that movie is, and I was never more proud to be wrong.
Right.
So
Now, one thing about the deadline article for this, um, written by Anthony D'Alessandro, we've gotten to this point with pop culture and entertainment now where we're counting the online views of trailers.
mm-hmm.
So this one brought in 77 million global views in its first 24 hours. It says that's the biggest online trailer drop for a Disney Marvel movie in the 14 months of the pandemic. Um, it bested the initial 24-hour traffic for Disney's Cruella trailer, which drew 71 million, and Disney Plus's WandaVision, which was released following its airing on last September's primetime Emmys. The 24-hour trailer traffic also beats numbers for pre-pandemic theatrical releases Maleficent, Mistress of Evil at 61.7 million, and the Will Smith Guy Ritchie hit Aladdin at 60.8. It does mention the trailer drop for Falcon and Winter Soldier racked up 125 million views following its airing on the Super Bowl. So it's still
But
untouchable.
that also
I
includes your
just
Super Bowl numbers for broadcast.
That's true. Um, I'm kind of like you though. This talk of this movie hasn't quite grabbed me yet. I do think Kit Harington
Mm-hmm.
as the Black Knight is something that's going to be exciting going forward.
Well, he's
I'm
he's
just not
back with
sure how the others are
his
gonna.
brother from Game of Thrones as well. What's his name?
Hmm.
Richard Matt. No, that's not his name. I forget which one I'm talking about. I know it was Rob Baratheon, not Rob Baratheon. Rob Stark. And I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna get there. Yeah, Richard Madden. God, I am so on it today with my names. I'm killing it. Um, so it's good to see them
You're
back
just so
together.
unsure of yourself
I
though.
know it's been an ongoing issue, but yeah, I don't. I'm just
It's like,
I'm curious about this movie. Is I hope it does well, but I don't know if it will.
I think it'll do well enough, and I think it'll do a good job of setting the Black Knight up going forward. Um, but beyond that, maybe it doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
You know.
see.
Uh, we shall see. Next up from Nerdist.com. Have heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
Byline belongs to Michael Walsh. A very strange Scooby Doo reunion special is coming to the CW. Mystery Inc. is getting back together. This time, the beloved group of crime solvers and their very hungry dog are revving up. Let's face it, he had the munchies.
Yeah, he did.
They're
They were all
revving up
high.
the van for a very different kind of project. Yeah, they were. They're heading to Warner Brothers Studios for the Scooby Doo reunion special. The group will look back at more than 5 decades of chasing ghosts, monsters, and the old men wearing scary masks, and in the process, they'll end up with at least one more case to solve. Uh, this comes among this comes with the CW's announcement of a whole new slate of shows and specials. The strangest of them all might be the network's plans to reunite Mystery Inc. with this mockumentary special. Um, so it looks like they're going to have them all around trading old stories,
Mm-hmm. And then solving a
and then
story at the
they
same
have to
time.
deal. Yeah, I I mean,
What a weird
look,
way
I
to do
grew up on
it.
Scooby Doo, right? It's almost like they're riffing on the Fresh Prince and Friends reunion specials. Like
Right.
they're all gonna sit around and talk, and then this might be the most entertaining of the three, though. You never know.
Right.
Um, are you looking forward to this one?
I'll watch it. Am I
Is
looking
this
forward
something
to it?
that you're
No.
gonna?
it's it's
It's
weird.
definitely gonna be a. It's definitely gonna be a good one though for the whole family. Um, I do need to check. Did they? I don't remember seeing a release date.
They haven't given one yet.
They don't have one yet.
Mm.
Expected to air later in 2021. So maybe they'll drop it in October.
Oh, it's so much
That'd be
fun.
perfect, right, for Halloween. And uh, Timothy Chalamet will play young Willy Wonka in an upcoming prequel movie. This is going to come to us from Deadline.com and the byline Justin Kroll. Timothy Chalamet is ready to head to a world of pure imagination as the Oscar nominated actor is set to star as the iconic inventor and chocolate maker in Warner Brothers and the Roald Dahl story company's Wonka, based on characters created by Roald Dahl. It will focus on a young Willy Wonka and his adventures prior to opening the world's most famous chocolate factory. Sources also tell Deadline that Wonka will mark the first time Chalamet gets to show off his singing and dancing skills, with several musical numbers set to appear in the film. He's been the top choice for some time, but scheduling was a hurdle that had to be overcome as training for those numbers is included in the prep for this film. Um, Paul King is set to direct from the screenplay he wrote with Simon Farnaby, with prior writers. That's a lot of names.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, David Heyman, Luke Kelly are producing, with Michael Siegel and Alexandra Derbyshire executive producing. This is going to be the third Wonka film, of course. The first one was 1971's Willy Wonka um, with Gene Wilder, and then 2005's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp. So, I don't know. I'm glad it's not a remake. I'm glad it's something different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we've never gotten this in film form before. Um, so at least it's something new. You know, the first two films basically told the same story with
Right.
some slight variations. So I don't know. I'll definitely be interested in checking it out. Um, are you gonna? Is this one you're gonna want to see or
No, it's. I'm just gonna be honest. No, I like Willy Wonka.
not a big Wonka person?
Yeah, I mean I like it. I just don't. That story is not going to want me. It doesn't make me want to watch it. I just don't. I'm
Right.
not about it. So I'll catch it on the third iteration of it.
Well, here's something that's really interesting. If Wonka doesn't do it for you, from Variety.com, Brent Lang and Todd Spangler. Amazon buys MGM, studio behind James Bond, for $8.45 billion. And this page keeps getting reloaded, I assume, because of advertisements.
Yes.
Um, so I'm trying to get to the good stuff here. It says Amazon will help preserve MGM's heritage and catalog of films and provide customers. It's reloaded again. Is yours reloading this much?
I've got it pulled up still.
Um, yeah, mine's just constantly reloading. I have time to read like two
You want me to
sentences and
read
then
this
it
one then?
reloads. Yeah,
Okay. MGM, founded in 1924, complements Amazon Studios, which is primarily focused on producing TV programming, the company said. Amazon will help preserve MGM's heritage and catalog of films and provide customers with greater access to these existing works the company's added. For Amazon snapping up MGM, which has more than 4,000 movies and 17,000 TV shows in its catalog, is a way to supercharge its Prime Video service with a slew of well known entertainment titles. In addition, Amazon is anticipating being able to mine Metro Goldwyn Mayer properties like the Pink Panther, Rocky, and yes, the 007 franchises for new originals. I think they just did this so Disney wouldn't.
Probably.
And that's
Yeah.
that's what I took out of that.
That's what it seems like. But it's a smart move for them.
Right.
It's good for Disney in a way too, because if they keep buying stuff, they're gonna come under that law of monopolies,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, and
that's
if you
not
don't
gonna
have
be good for them.
competition, then
Uh,
what's the point?
Right, right. All right. Thanks for stepping in there, Tyler.
No worries.
So the next story is from Variety. Sam Raimi, good old Sam.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of Tyler's favorite stories. This comes from Variety's Rebecca Rubin. Variety is going to do this to me all the time, isn't it? Evil Dead sequel, Evil Dead Rise, coming to HBO Max. I think you may have to take this one too.
Okay.
It's constantly reloading.
We'll stay
on my
away
phone.
from Variety then, because the way that they run their ads, it's bad on my computer. I can only imagine what it's like on your phone.
Yeah.
Rebecca Rubin puts on here 40 years after the release of Evil Dead, the supernatural horror trilogy created by Sam Raimi is rising from the ashes. A new installment titled Evil Dead Rise is in the works at New Line Cinema. Unlike its predecessors, Evil Dead Rise will get the streaming treatment with a launch on HBO Max set for the US. Meanwhile, in the UK, the movie will get a theatrical release via Studio Canal and in France through Metropolitan. Raimi created the series and directed the original film 1981's The Evil Dead and its two sequels, 1987's Evil Dead 2 and 1993's Army of the Darkness at New Line. He won't be returning behind the camera to direct, but he will serve as an EP with Bruce Campbell, who starred as the series protagonist Ash Williams. Campbell won't appear on screen in the upcoming entry. Evil Dead veteran Robert Tapert is also returning to produce the next chapter in the seminal horror series. I have not watched these movies.
Yeah.
Your list keeps getting longer, Chris. I know.
Very entertaining. They're very entertaining.
Are you excited about this?
All right. I am.
Good.
Yeah. It'd be good if Bruce Campbell was in front of the camera, at least for a little bit. But,
at least he has a say-so in it.
At some point, yeah, he's involved, so that's a plus. Next up, hey, this one comes from IGN, so I shouldn't have any issues.
Yeah, you won't have any issues with this.
Get your stuff together, Variety. All right, from IGN and Kat Bailey. Aaron Taylor Johnson will play Kraven the Hunter in Sony's Spider-Man spinoff. So this is set to come out January 2023. And there's not a whole lot to really say about it. He's been cast as Kraven. Yeah.
And this, a lot of people are doing the funny meme because, of course, he is Quicksilver in the MCU. And a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you didn't see this coming," and then had the picture of him as Kraven. I thought it was very funny how they did that. But this lets me know that Sony is setting up the Sinister Six. We've got Morbius, we've got Venom now, we've got potentially Falcon from the MCU because we see him in the Morbius trailer, and then now Aaron Taylor Johnson is Kraven. We're starting to set up a Sinister Six here. What does that mean going forward with our Spider-Man? I don't know, but
well, that's what I thought when I saw this. Is wait a minute, Marvel does not double cast people. You know, if you're cast to play a particular character, that's your character, and he's Quicksilver.
Yeah.
So are they going to acknowledge this casting?
See, I don't know what they're doing. Like that's why I want to see Morbius so bad, because I want to see what is Michael Keaton and we're assuming his Falcon character, My Falcon Vulture
His
character.
Vulture.
Yeah, I said that earlier. The Falcon. Anyways, with his Vulture character, is he actually from the MCU or is this just a Michael Keaton? Because what this lets me know too, though, is like, we have to see that movie to see what is going on. Um, but if it's what it is now, that lets me know that Craven is not going to be in the MCU because Sony owns the right to the character. If because I just same thing with Venom. Venom's not going to be in the MCU now.
I almost feel like that's exactly what it is. That, um, because they had to strike another deal
Mm-hmm.
to keep Spider-Man in the MCU. And I wonder if it was, look, you go make your movies about these characters. We're not going to ask for the rights to them back right now. Do your
Right.
thing with them, make your money. But we need Spider-Man. From what we've heard, Marvel now has at least an agreement to be able to use, if not the rights back, to Doctor Octopus, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be in there.
I'm so excited
So
to
I
see.
wonder if they just took a couple of those. I wonder if they just took a couple of those characters, said we need these back. I don't know. I just wish they'd put it to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Buy the right. There's plenty of money
Or
here at
just buy
Disney,
Sony at
right?
this point. Buy Sony Pictures.
Something. I just tell Sony, look, if you won't sell us the rights to our own characters back, then we're going to buy you.
Yeah,
Why not?
that plays
Like,
into our
hey, you
next
see
story.
what happened to Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be the next Fox.
So, not at all. Well, I don't know. I mean, next story, Sony CEO confirms Sony Pictures is not for sale.
Mm-hmm.
That means he lied because everything in Hollywood has a price.
Right.
Um, so this comes from the Hollywood Reporter by Patrick Brzezinski. I don't know if I'm supposed to pronounce it that way, but
That sounded right.
Sony Pictures not for sale, says CEO Yoshida. Okay, something's going on here
Is it doing the ads
because
thing
my
too?
phone just shut the entire browser off.
Oh, that's nice.
No, it completely kicked me out. I don't know what's going on with my phone. Someone has hacked my phone. No one would hack me. I'm not that interesting. Um, okay, it's letting me load in here. Oh, yeah, something's glitchy with this because it's just not letting me do anything. That sucks.
You want me on this one?
Can yeah, can you take
Okay.
this one and the deadline, and I'll just do the other post in between.
Okay. So Sony Pictures is not for sale, nor will it be spun off as a standalone company anytime soon, says Sony Group CEO Yoshida Kinichiro. The rapid consolidation seen across the screen sector, such as Amazon's $8.45 billion acquisition of MGM, we just talked about that, and Warner Media's high-profile merger with Discovery last week, has fueled industry speculation about Sony Pictures' future. And the company's strategic decision to act as a content supplier to established streamers rather than launching a flagship direct to consumer service of its own has made it something as an outlier in the streaming era. Meanwhile, the high price tag Amazon paid for MGM, which is a significantly smaller operation than Sony Pictures, underscored the enormous value Sony Group could potentially command for its film and television operations should it be open to parting with them. Everyone's got a price, like you were saying.
Yeah,
So,
he's not going to come out and say, "Yeah, we'd sell for the."
right.
If he denies that it's for sale, he gets a higher price.
Yeah.
So, not saying that they will sell, but
It's a
there's
marketing
too much of
strategy.
it going on right now, and if yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it eventually happens. I think it just gets pulled in. I think you're going to end up with maybe three major film companies, and then they'll have all these subdivisions of the ones that they bought.
Disney,
Disney,
Netflix, and Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah,
One of them go ahead and buy Hulu for me, so I can just bundle it all in, and we'll just take care of that.
Well, Disney has Hulu.
Oh, that's right. Well, I need them to consolidate their prices a little bit more. I'm paying way too much right now. Between ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, just consolidate them all into one, please. That'd be great.
Right. All right. Hey, here's one that I can talk about because there's no story link. Netflix posts tweets showing 72 million households watched Army of the Dead, making it the #1 film around the world and is projected to be one of Netflix's most popular films in its first 4 weeks. Um, Good for them.
Are we surprised?
No,
No.
I mean, I think going into it, when you have the names Zack Snyder and Dave Batista
Yeah.
on the project, you're gonna get a number like that.
Well, and I know a
Now,
lot of people
it
watched it because of Dave Batista. So
yeah, yeah, it's he was it this film? I think it was this one that he chose to make and passed up the Fast and Furious role.
I know no,
I think it
because
was.
he was pitching for Gears of War.
Right, but he had another movie that he was in talks for, but he chose to make this one instead. I
It
can't
might have been
remember
that.
what
It might
was.
have been Fast and Furious
Anyway,
then.
anyway, good choice.
Yeah.
Because this one hit. So, yeah.
And let me tell you, Chris, about another movie that hit. Brings us to our next news story, which has a link,
Uh-oh.
so I will go for this one. Robbie Amell and Stephen Amell are expanding the Code 8 universe. We're going to Deadline.com by Amanda Nundaka for the Nduka for this one. Robbie Amell and Stephen Amell are expanding the Code 8 universe. After spearheading the crowd-funded original film, the cousins are set to reprise their roles in the sci-fi sequel Code 8 Part 2. Jeff Chan is also returning to direct. I am also one of the ones that contributed money for it. Chan also penned the screenplay with Chris Pare, who wrote Code 8, as well as Sharon Lee and Jesse Lafercombe. Been some hard names today. The plot centers on the 4% of people living in fictional Lincoln City who possess special abilities and are often confronted by advanced, militarized police technology. It's a sci-fi fantasy about the extraordinary power that we as individuals hold versus the technological superiority of the institution that we live within. Did you ever watch Code 8?
Did not know.
We, of course, in this household, we are big Amel fans. And
Right.
whatever any one of the Amel cousins are in, we're going to watch. And we enjoyed it. You could tell it was lower budgeted than other things, but it was good. And we said at the time, they set it up where it could easily have spin offs or sequels. And I am super glad it's getting a sequel. And they're both are back in it, and I'm so here for it. So,
So what service is that on? Where can I watch that?
I think we had to buy it through Amazon. Where
Okay.
can I watch Code 8? Of course, no. Oh, is it on Netflix? I know it's showing up on Prime
Even
Video.
better.
Let me. Yeah, oh, it's on Netflix. That's where we watched it. So there you
There
go.
we go.
Watch it free on Netflix, everybody.
Perfect. All right. Let me get let me get back in here because these don't have links.
Mm-mm. They're good
Seth
ones.
Rogen is making a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and it premieres in theaters August 11th of 2023. Um,
Because we need more.
that's all we know. I'm assu- I'm assuming live action.
Yeah, it's live action.
Assuming live action. So I don't know. I have a soft spot for the original live action back in like
Yeah, you would be a
1989,
Secrets of the
90,
Use kind of guy.
somewhere in there. That's just because I'm old, really. It's um Also, Thor: Love and Thunder has officially wrapped filming. So let's pull up the fun stuff here, which is Chris Hemsworth had a Instagram post here where he said that's a wrap on Thor: Love and Thunder. It's also National Don't Flex Day, so I thought this super relaxed photo was appropriate. Film's going to be batshit crazy, off the wall funny. It might also pull a heartstring or two. Lots of love, lots of thunder. Thank you to all the cast and crew who made this another incredible Marvel journey. Buckle in, get ready, and see you in cinemas.
I can't stand him. I cannot stand him in this photo he took. Oh, it's National, no flex day. Dude's arm is the size of my head, and like not even flexing. I can't stand him, like at all.
Thor.
Right.
All right, let's see. Get back in here. I think my problem here may be that I haven't restarted my phone in a minute. So,
Could be.
finally, Quiet Place 2 roared past Godzilla vs. Kong for the biggest pandemic opening weekend at the U.S. box office with $57 million for A Quiet Place, and Godzilla vs. Kong had 31.6 million. Yeah,
I've never seen the first one.
good for it. I heard I've heard really good things
Yeah,
about both.
it's to the point that I want to watch these two. I know, and I hear they're pretty horrifying, but they're not demons or anything, so I am. It's not ghost or demons, so I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Releases this week. This goes back to the end of May
Hmm.
up through June 11th. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, June 4th, and In the Heights at the cinema on June the 11th. You can also watch The Conjuring on HBO Max.
Hmm.
Um, so I may have to do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
that's my
yeah.
oldest daughter and my wife are watching it tonight. I will be on the opposite side of the house with a fan going and the community playing on the TV.
And
So.
uh, and a cute little Annabelle doll sitting
Yeah,
right
of
there
course.
next to
Yeah, no. Maybe a crucifix or five around the bed. So, our next and last
you.
topic.
What was it?
Do it.
I was gonna say, what was it? The Exorcist, where the crucifix on the wall turned upside down by
I
itself.
assume that's right because I will never watch that movie. Our next and last topic is video games. Chris, what have you been playing the past 2 weeks?
I dipped into Valhalla just a little bit when I had some time, but it's been mainly the show, man. It's been I finished the second inning program like a week early, but then they dropped season two, Team
Of
Affinity.
course.
So I've been on the grind for that. Now the third inning program has dropped, so I've been on the grind for the third inning program. But I'm planning to knock them both out really early and then just play a little daily
Yeah.
and play chunks of Valhalla.
We've got so video game wise, these next 2 weeks are going to be huge, and our news reports and everything else is going to be crazy off the wall. And we still need to sit down and figure out how we're going to do that for the podcast, on how we're going to do that.
Hmm.
But I've been playing Destiny. The newest raid dropped a couple weeks ago, and I got through it, and I bought my jacket because Bungie, that makes Destiny, does this amazing thing that you can only buy certain things unless you want to spend $99,000 on it. So
Right.
you have to do something in game, and they give you a code, which makes it an affordable price. Like the jacket is like $120 or something like that, and it's personalized, and which is what I got, which is the reason I wanted to beat the raid before the first reset. So I did that, but I mean that's honestly all I've played. It's been real busy here with work, and I've got to figure something out
Hmm.
because sitting here in the same spot that I sit at work and then wanting to play games afterwards, just my body doesn't want to sit here any longer, and I need to
Right.
figure something out. But figuring something out, I've got absolutely no news links, so we're just going straight through all of this stuff. We got 7 different news stories here. A lot of it's E3 related. The first one is Pokemon reveals new release dates for its new upcoming games. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are coming out November 19th, 2021, and the new looks like RPG for Pokemon Legends Arceus will be coming out January 28th, 2022, a lot earlier than I was expecting we were going to get that huge of a game. Battlefield 6 reveal is set for June 9th this week. Your PlayStation Plus games for June are PlayStation 5 Operation Tango. The PlayStation 4, you get Star Wars Squadrons and Virtual Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. We also got another delay with God of War, and I'm going to their tweet right now from Santa Monica Studio.
Don't blame Alana Pierce.
Yeah, do not blame. I don't care who you are. Do not blame developers for anything. It's a video game. This goes for movies as well. If anything gets pushed back, why yell at people and send death threats? It's absolutely ridiculous. But we're going to the Santa Monica Studio press post. Since the release of the next God of War teaser last year, we've been humbled by the amount of love our community has shown us. We're incredibly grateful to see so many people excited to experience the next chapter of Kratos and Atreus' journey. We remain focused on delivering a top quality game while maintaining the safety and well-being of our team, creative partners, and families. With this in mind, we've made the decision to shift our release window to 2022. Thank you all for your continued support. We've got some exciting things in the works that we cannot wait to show you. So, a couple things. We all knew this was not happening in 2021. I am concerned, not really concerned, I'm skeptical if Horizon Forbidden West is going to come out in 2021, if not be a March or an April or February release for it, for Sony. This lets me know that it's not a little spin-off game like Miles Morales like people were thinking this was going to be. Because if you think about it, God of War came out in 2018. We are now 3 years post that. So plenty of time to make a game and work on it. I'm assuming I'm not a game dev. I don't know, the scopes of these games. But I have a feeling that this game, if Horizon Forbidden West gets kicked back, which to me it's going to, that's going to be early next year. This will be the end of 2022's game release. It's, to me, that's just what I see from reading that tweet.
Just in time for the holiday season.
Yep, and what better? And a lot more people will have PlayStation 5s by then. They've already said it's going to be scarce for 2021, but 2022 is going to be a bigger year, and I agree. Let's get right to our E3 news here, Chris. Ubisoft's E3 showcase will be June 12th at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, all this is going to be in CST because that's where we are. They put on there, they say it will have Far Cry 6, Riders Republic, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and some surprises you don't want to miss. Some is not a lot, which is, we'll see what they do. And then the big one that literally everyone's eyes is going to be on, Xbox and Bethesda showcase is set for June 13th for 90 minutes of games at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. This was a big thing because we did not know what Bethesda was going to do, if they're going to have their own showcase or if they're going to be with Xbox. Well, they're going to be with Xbox, and expect to see Starfield, expect to see Halo. That's going to be the biggest thing, because that's coming out this year. There's no way it's not coming out this year. So we'll see. It's Halo, not Starfield. Starfield's still way out there. And then with that, Nintendo has set its E3 date and time as well on June 15th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And this is interesting to me. With 40 minutes of info focused on Nintendo Switch software, mostly releasing in 2021, put a pin in that. Followed by around 3 hours of gameplay in its Nintendo Treehouse Live. Which is, they usually have a Treehouse Live. It's not that long. Usually not that long. So, yeah. We got a lot of games coming out. Now, the reason I'm saying keep your eyes on this one, Nintendo Switch Pro. Their newest and upgraded console is rumored and has been shared around and things like that it's coming out soon. People are even saying this year. Now, that's a direct quote from Nintendo. 40 minutes of info focused on Nintendo Switch software, mostly releasing in 2021. We are getting the Nintendo Switch Pro, or whatever it's going to be called. I particularly like the Super Nintendo Switch. I'm kind of particular. I like that one a lot better than Switch Pro. but with 3 hours of gameplay. They did it for the Switch. They had a long gameplay with Legend of Zelda with its Breath of the Wild. So I have a feeling we're going to see Breath of the Wild 2. We're going to see the Pokemon Arceus and some surprise others maybe. But that's what that tells me. That's a long time for a conference for Nintendo. So
Yeah,
we'll
it
see.
is.
But I'm excited. E3 is upon us again. We don't know what our coverage is going to look like for it. I'm going to be reacting a whole lot on Twitter, so be ready for that. The Xbox and Bethesda showcase will have already have happened before our next recording, so we'll still have that. And we'll have that one and Ubisoft, I believe. We won't have Nintendo or any of the other companies, but it's going to be exciting. E3 is a national holiday for me. I have it taken off work because I can watch it while I'm working, so I'm not going to use my PTO for that. Don't tell chat, be cool, and commenters, do not tell my job I'm going to be watching this. So new releases coming out these past 2 weeks. Chivalry 2 comes out June 8th. The Elder Scrolls Online version for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X on June 8th. And then the Elder Scrolls Online Blackwood DLC, their new big expansion, comes out June 8th as well. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for PlayStation 5 comes out June 10th. And the big one, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, comes out June 11th on the PlayStation 5. My pre-order is in. It's coming in day one. And it's going to be a good weekend. That's what I'm going to say. So, but
I'm looking forward to Far Cry 6.
Are you really? Did you watch the new trailers and stuff? I didn't know. Were you in? I didn't know you were into Far Cry.
I played a little bit of 5.
I loved 5 because of Greg Beardick.
Yeah.
The father.
I'm just really, I don't know. I started to order the game and then I thought, well, let me wait till closer to time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's time for our games to start coming out in E3. I'm hoping we get some shadow drops on E3. Those are always my favorite things when they show off a big hit game and then they go, it's also available right now. And I'm like, oh my God. It's just, I love when they do it. They don't do it often, but sometimes they do. And I really wish they will.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, that has been your Super NerdWide episode 28, covering 2 weeks of huge stories. Next time you see us, there's going to be a lot of gaming news, a lot of things to talk about in gaming. The new Loki episode, our movie review for, let me get to it, the Outside the Wire, and a new episode of Superman and Lois, and however many other series I watch within this week. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you enjoy what you saw or heard, make sure you subscribe to us on whatever podcasting service. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. If you really like to give us a thumbs up and also rate or review us if you like us on your podcasting service. If you want to go the extra mile, we always do have the patreon.com/nerdwide where we have 3 different tiers. You can toss us a couple bucks our way. And guys, if you want to follow us on social media, you can follow the NerdWide account at nerd_wide. You can follow me at Ty_Haynes. And you can follow Chris at MavTN7. But guys, this has been episode 28 of the NerdWide podcast, the super episode. And we cannot wait to come to you next week with some more E3 news and some fun reviews for you. Everyone, be safe and enjoy your week.